Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. And don't you just hate to see it happen? When somebody opens their mouths and says something so appallingly bad that they not only destroy their chance of becoming the leader of the SNP, but have probably destroyed their entire political career. I think for this person, everything is finished, it is over, and she needs to go back to the Isle of Skye, back to a closed we-free church, and to sit on the moral high ground pontificating on how awful the rest of us truly are. Yesterday, day one of her campaign, Kate Forbes, for it is she, opens her big bake in front of everybody and says that being gay is a sin and that gay marriage should never have been allowed and that she would never have voted for it. Fine. That was written off by her backers as a religious viewpoint. Can we move on and look at the bigger issues? And we have, because today she's opened that bake again, and this time she said that sex and children outside of marriage is a sin and is wrong. Does this woman have any concept of the real lives of real people up and down this nation? What the hell is wrong with her? Anyway, we're going to have a look at this article and laugh as we say, bye-bye, Kate, bye-bye, thanks for playing, because her career is over. And now we can look at the next person who's going to be destroyed by opening their mouths. It's going to be Hamza, isn't it? It's going to be Hamza. Anyway, here we go. Right, just before we get in there, there's no doubt that Kate Forbes is an intelligent woman, but she's just got no political understanding of people, I think. And that you couple that with the fact she comes from the We Free, this sort of fundamentalist, very staunch Protestant religion that is very sort of unflinching in its beliefs. And I think this is the problem she's got. She has this mindset, and I think possibly on the spectrum a little bit as well, but she has this mindset and she cannot help herself. It's the black and whiteness of this is right, this is wrong, rather than, yeah, I personally think it's wrong, but hey, you got to let people live their lives. That isn't happening. So we're going to go into this now, but it is unbelievable. And she has just ended, I think, like I say, her hope to be SNP leader, but possibly also she's possibly just ended her political career. So now SNP hopeful Kate Forbes says sex and children outside of marriage are wrong, as a devout Christian's bid to succeed Nicola Sturgeon suffers a spectacular 24-hour meltdown with her MSP backers rushing to drop her. Kate Forbes said she would also have voted against gay marriage in 2014. Now, I said yesterday in a video and about 3-4 days ago in a video that whoever follows Nicola Sturgeon is going to be undoubtedly worse. Bad as Sturgeon was, and boy was she spectacularly bad, she is the best the SNP have got. And for all her faults, and I will give her this, I will actually amazingly stand up and say one good thing about, or at least not one good thing, one positive thing about Sturgeon, is that she did undoubtedly have a sense of political intelligence. She was on the wrong side and she got everything wrong, but she understood how politics works. This Kate Forbes has got no idea. And that alone makes her a terrible choice to be leader, but I don't think that is going to be an issue for very much longer. Anyway, SNP hopeful Kate Forbes' nightmare campaign took another twist today as she declared that sex outside marriage is wrong. I suggest she goes to Govan. I suggest she goes to Dundee or Inverness and has a look at all the people there who are having sex outside of marriage. Because let me tell you, love, there's quite a few of them now. It's becoming very popular. The Scottish Finance Secretary struggled as she was grilled in more detail on her devout religious beliefs after admitting she would have voted against gay marriage. Ms Forbes, who cut her maternity leave short to enter the contest to succeed Nicola Sturgeon, told Sky News that having children outside of wedlock is something I would seek to avoid. In terms of my faith, she said, my faith would say that children, it says, is for sex, is for marriage, and that's the approach I would practice. Ms Forbes insisted it was not an issue she was fussed about, suggesting she would not impose my views on other people, although she feeling free to express them, instead of keeping the mouth shut, which would be a better, more politically astute thing to do don't you think? Anyway, and she accepts family and friends who have made those choices, but asked if having children outside marriage is wrong. She replied, for me, it would be wrong according to my faith. Miss Forbes has been regarded as a front-runner, but appears to have crashed within 24 hours of formally declaring her interest, with allies admitting she has fucked it up. The meltdown leaves Health Secretary Humza Yousaf as the favourite to take over from Miss Sturgeon. Oh my God. Please, somebody else, please stand. I don't care who it is. Go and grab someone. Go grab some rando off the street. Slap an SNP membership card in his hand or her hand. Bring her up and put her up there against Humza. Because he is going to be worse than useless. Anyway, Miss Forbes, a member of the Free Church of Scotland, faced a backlash after insisting that she views marriage as between a man and a woman, and the 32-year-old said she would have voted against same-sex marriage if she was being an MSP at the time. A series of MSPs announced they were dropping their support immediately, along with Westminster MP Drew Hendry, but in a round of interviews this morning, Ms Forbes denied her campaign was effectively over and said she'd not intended to offend anyone. Oh, that's okay then. You offend all the gay people, you offend everyone who has children outside of marriage, you offend anyone who's having sex outside of marriage, but that's okay, because you didn't mean to. And we watch as she packs her bags and wanders off into the sunset, a transient politician in the twilight of her career. But anyway, speaking on Radio Times this morning, Ms Forbes tried to smooth over the fallout from her opposition to gay marriage in principle. She said, I regret enormously the pain or hurt that has been caused because that was neither my intention. Well, yeah, it's why you said it. If it wasn't your intention to cause this pain and offence, keep your big mouth shut. If someone asks you the question, you say, well, I have personal views because of my religion, but I would not expect to impose those on anyone. And there you go. What's the next question? You moved on. You've answered it, moved on. But no. You have to go out and say, oh, I'm dead against it and I would have voted against it because you're damn stupid. Anyway. Ms Forbes added that she defends the rights of LGBT people to live free of harassment, fear and prejudice. However, on Radio 4's Today programme, Ms Forbes reiterated that she would have opposed same-sex marriage. So she's saying that they have the right to be without prejudice and then is immediately being prejudiced. I love stupidity and hypocrisy, especially in politicians. It makes them look what they are, stupid and hypocritical. But anyway, she compared her position to that of Angela Merkel, who agreed to vote on the issue opposed to the change, but then implemented the will of the German parliament. Challenged that her campaign was all but finished, Ms Forbes says absolutely not. She needs to look out that window. Anyway, absolutely not. She said, we have a large party membership, most of whom are not on Twitter. Yeah, but it doesn't mean that they don't read the paper or listen to the radio, look at the internet. They're going to see what you've just said. So you've alienated all your gay voters, you've alienated all your lesbian voters, including the gays and lesbians in your own party. Joanna Cherry's not going to be on your Christmas card list, is she? You've alienated all of them. Now you're alienating everyone who chooses to marry outside of, or chooses to have sex with children outside of marriage. But do you count that as only marriage within the We Free? Or does being Catholic and married count? Does being Jewish and married count? Or is it only the We Free marriages that count? You've got to define your parameters here, love. I understand people have strong views on these matters. I think the public are longing for politicians to answer straight questions with straight answers, and that's certainly what I've tried to do in the media yesterday. That doesn't necessarily allow for much nuance. Yeah, but when you're a politician, you need to be nuanced. Yes, answer the question, but do it in a way that it is a complete answer but doesn't offend. Like I say, it's not hard. My position on these matters is that I will defend to the hilt everybody's rights in a pluralistic and tolerant society. Here's the thing. She talks about living in a tolerant society. She is a member of the We Free, which is one of the most intolerant churches. It is unbelievably bigoted against people who are non-members. But anyway, she's such a hypocrite. Anyway, equal marriage was made legal in Scotland in 2014 with an overwhelming majority of 105 votes to 18. while Miss Forbes was not elected to Holyrood until the 2016 election, but she would have voted against it. Miss Forbes previously said that she would not have voted in the Scottish Government's Gender Recognition Scotland Bill in its current form, and as she was on maternity leave, she did not participate in the final vote before the new year, but has been clear on her opposition since 2019. And in fact, one of the reasons it was pushed through so damn quickly by Sturgeon and the Greens was that she was on holiday and they didn't want a senior minister voting against it. So they pushed it through while she was on maternity leave, simply to get it through and not embarrass the party. Because if she'd have come back, she would have voted against it and then there'd have been hell to pay. But she was one of the 15 SNP politicians who publicly called on her party to delay the controversial proposals, which have now not only been overwritten by Westminster, but every single person who's standing now, or has made clear their intention to stand, is saying that they're not only dropping the bill, they're reversing it, and they're going to write it off the books. It will cease to be a bill. And that means that you lose the Greens, and Sturgeon is yet again utterly humiliated. So that's a good thing. Anyway, she said, my concerns about self-ID have been well documented, and I would have continued to have those concerns about self-ID, and it's very difficult to talk hypothetically when it comes to a bill. No, it's not. That's the whole point of having committee meetings, is that you do talk hypothetically, the what-if cases. What if this happens? What if that happens? And that's how you thrash out a bill and make sure it's a good bill, rather than the piece of legislative nightmare and chaos that the gender bill was. It was awful. Anyway, I guess she's going on about that, and she's talking about, is somebody who commits this act a man or a woman in the Isle of Brighton thing, which we've covered 1,000,000 times. So I'm not going to go into that. But yes, in 2 days, effectively, in just over a 24-hour period, she's opened the mouth twice and totally destroyed her chances. Unfortunately, the worst aspect of this is that it means that Humza Yousaf is now the front runner. And indeed, at the moment, I think the only runner. So hopefully somebody will come on to the race, throw their hat in the ring, and we can have someone give him a run for his money. But I'm certainly going to be watching what he does and says, and I'm going to be looking into his background. We've already covered a few things about it, but we need to get a thorough investigation, because you cannot have a man who has overseen the complete destruction of everything he's ever touched running the country. It's bad enough when you had Sturgeon doing it. She was just doing it out of willful evil, whereas he would do it out of willful stupidity. Anyone going to round off and come up? When a politician starts making themselves to be better because they're moral and they're ethical, and they go to the right church, and that they're married, and because you're gay or the product of an unmarried parent, or you're having sex unmarried, so she's better than you because of that. Just remind them that that was the sort of predominant mindset of Germany in the 1930s, and it didn't work out too well then. It'd be even less welcoming, I think, today. So she needs to pack up her stuff, put it in a bag, exit stage left with her tail between her legs, and we won't be calling her on for an encore. She can get on a little boat and piss off back to the Isle of Skye like a modern-day Flora MacDonald. She was bad for Scotland then, and this modern-day one is bad for Scotland now. But we wonder who will be next, and please, dear God, let's have someone better, someone capable, someone who doesn't use morals and ethics as a weapon to beat the people. Thank you very much for listening. It's been a bit of a long one. But we got there in the end. If you like what you see and hear on that channel, do please right now hit that button. We're getting up there. The channel's growing. Voices becoming louder, and we are going to keep them all honest. We're going to keep investigating them and highlighting everything they do. So do hit the subscribe button and share the video if you can. But until next time, stay safe, stay well. Don't listen to politicians because they're all full of crap. And goodbye.